Few of the things that we know in this space is that firstly, that slowing down and ultimately halting deforestation will cost in the area of 30 to 40 billion US dollars. It seems very unlikely that that amount of investment will be able to be mobilized from public sources alone.
In the compliance market, less than 1% is in the forestry sector in the CDM, but in the voluntary market it's about 24%.
The forest carbon market has grown quite significantly, but the vast bulk of it is being done in the voluntary sector. We know the only way to scale it up is to move it into compliance markets, so it means we have to get an investable architecture around forest carbon agreed, ideally in Durban later this year.
But there is a huge interest in getting private sector investment in this. The problem though is we are faced with stakeholders who generally do not talk to the private sector. They are the ministries of environment who do policies on environment, which most people essentially ignore, and business continues. Now, REDD has changed this.
Where is the big demand push going to come from? And at present, it's not so visible. You know, the lack of significant commitments to emission reductions means that we're not going to see a big demand for forestry projects. And I think that is the significant roadblock that needs to be addressed.
I think the fundamental risk is regulatory, and that happens at a number of levels. We're looking at project-based credits, so having the right regulation at a local, national level to ensure that you can actually access forestry, you can understand the ownership structures around forestry is critical, and then the overarching regulatory risks of how the carbon market works for forestry carbon.
Some of the solutions for what is needed are relatively straightforward and economically efficient. Some are more intricate. In a nutshell, if I had to distill it down to three things and group those solutions into three categories, we'd be talking about modalities for monitoring, reporting, verification, safeguards, and compliance demand.
This document is well worth reading. It's a very good analysis of how financial institutions and indeed the private sector can play a significant role in this extraordinary opportunity and challenge.
With this report, we are making an intervention into the development of an investable architecture around REDD, and we want to do that in the run-up to Durban to make sure that we're part of the debate around this future regulation.
Now, REDD has changed this. And I think the really important thing is REDD requires results.
To be sure that this top-down and bottom-up approach meet together.
They have to find a way to engage the private sector.
It's not about forest later, it's about forest now. We don't have time to wait.